Welcome back to another episode of The Missing Link in Your Healing. It's a very exciting episode today because I have a very, very special guest called Hatumbra. But just to remind you that this is the podcast where we bring you a very holistic view on how to play a role in your own healing. We focus on physical healing, but everything we bring encompasses not just the body, but mind, spirit, and energy, because they all go together in order for us to play a role in our own healing. So it's my great honor, Hatumbra, to have you here today. It's taken me quite a few years to get you to this point, and I know that you will bless us with what you bring. Hatumbra is going to tell you who she is. She's going to share her story because she is the most extraordinary online mind-body coach. She takes a very integrative approach to healing, physical healing, because that's been her journey, but incorporating personal development, personal growth, mind, body, emotions. So I'm not going to say too much because I want her to share her story now of how she healed herself and how she got to doing what she does. I just want to throw in that I have used Hatumbra online to do some mind, body, and especially emotional work. I've been doing stuff with her for a couple of years on and off, and she's incredibly powerful on multiple levels. So thank you, Hatumbra, for saying yes. And I'm going to hand over to you now.
Thank you, Antoinette, for that beautiful introduction. I hope I live up to all of that. Yes, I call myself a mind-body coach because that incorporates everything that I've learned, and it took me the longest time to get a label, to get a name. And then once I've gone to study mind-body coaching, I thought, okay, here it is. I can call myself a mind-body coach. People don't necessarily understand what it means, what a mind-body coach is, but a mind-body coach is somebody that understands that the person is, everything is interlinked. The body is interlinked with the emotions is interlinked with the body. There's a feedback loop. Then there's the energetic body. So, and then the spirit. So all, as a mind body coach, you look at the person as a whole. Okay. Now, I want to start with my story. And like everyone, it starts in childhood. I was this really odd child. I was hypersensitive, a deep thinker, very emotional, and I struggled to be just a child. It was difficult, and I had high anxiety, and I had my first major anxiety attack when I was 6 years old. So, and then when I went to school, the anxiety just got even more. And I had real trouble with bladder infections. I got bilharzia quite often because I spent a lot of time fishing with my father, and yes, and the sensitivity, the spiritual sensitivity is I found to be very comfortable in nature. But when I was between people, I felt very anxious. And in school, I didn't have friends because I was labeled as this weirdo. And I didn't understand, and I felt so deeply alone. So by the age of 12, I was put on a lot of psychiatric medicine because they thought, okay, now this child is not doing well. And when I grew up, it was unheard of to give children psychiatric medicine. And when I was a teenager, I developed a condition where I had chronic inflammation in my spine. So I had a lot of pain. And the psychiatric medicine didn't really help because I was still very depressed. I still felt lonely. I still felt like I didn't belong. And my parents really did the best they could, having this very strange child that was talking to grass and trees and and speaking to things that other people didn't see. So then, but having the psychiatric medicine cut me off a lot from those very, say, spiritual experiences. But it didn't cut me off from from being depressed and anxious. It didn't help a lot with that. So it was tough, and then having the chronic pain made it very difficult to function. And then I was put on a lot of medicine. And then obviously, struggling with life, I started self-medicating with alcohol. And and it did give me some relief. And I was never somebody that went to parties and things. I wasn't invited, so I drank alone. And I stole my dad's whiskey because I couldn't go and buy alcohol, so I would pour out his whiskey and fill it with water. Yeah, and then I started using the alcohol with my psych medicine, and that was not a good thing. And I used the alcohol with my pain medicine, and that was also not a good thing. And I didn't get better, and I started getting weird symptoms, and I went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And so let's fast forward a few years, and I woke up the one morning, and my right hand was, I want to show, it was pulled in like this. And I couldn't open, even if I tried to pull it open, I couldn't. It was just cramping. And my right side of my face was hanging. I struggled to speak. And I was sent to I was taken to the doctor, and I was sent for MRI. They were fearing that I had a stroke. I didn't have a stroke. And then I went to a neurologist, and the neurologist couldn't figure out, he didn't understand. And he sent me from the doctor to the doctor, and everyone was like, what the hell is going on with this person that can't open their hand? And it's really difficult. And then, just really feeling fed up, I went to see a homeopath. And he asked me about my history. I said, well, I started to tell him that a few years ago I went home, and my dad didn't want me to be at home. So I was working a waitressing job, and I had to work double shifts every day. So that means from 7 o'clock in the morning till any time it closed, from 11 o'clock till even to 2 o'clock at night. It depended on, the customers that left. And I only had an hour lunch break. So that was like very busy time. And like, rush hour for waitressing, it can be very hectic, and it's not a very, it's a physical demanding job, because you're running a lot. And I said, okay. And then I said, then working like that, I got tick bite fever. I lived with my parents on their farm, and I would go for, if I early in the morning before I went out, I just took a walk in the veld. And the one evening I got home and there was this tick on my tummy, and I pulled it out, and I didn't get sick immediately, but it was like the day or day after the night I got very bad fever. And I woke up, and then I got to sleep a bit, and I woke up and I said to my mom, can she please take me to the doctor? And she says no. And because my dad and my mom, they really, you know, it was a difficult time, and I think maybe they thought I was lying or trying to get not to go to work or something like that. So I drove myself to the doctor, and the doctor says, no, you've got tick-bite fever, and he gave me medicine. And I found the job, and I said to them, okay, I'm not going to come to work for a few days. And they said, no, it's fine. And I went back home. And now thinking back, I realized, okay, I was a recovered alcohol and drug addict, but like very, very, very small time before I went back home. And I think my parents didn't trust me. And the reason they wanted me to work all the time was to help me in a way. You know, we think it was cruel, and yes, it was hard, it was difficult. But now, as many years forward, I can think back and realize, no, they actually wanted me to do well, and I needed to prove myself to them. Okay. So the doctor asked, okay, then you had the tick-bite fever. I said, yeah. And then at work, I got to know a lady, a young lady, and she said she was going to apply at the mine for apprenticeship. But before she could apply for the apprenticeship, she needed to go to college. And I said, well, I'll join you. And then we went on this journey where we went on college. We still worked she also worked at the restaurant. So we went to college, and we got in. Both got the apprenticeship, and that was amazing. And I started my apprenticeship for a tradeswoman, and I had an accident at work with mercury. And I went to the doctor, said, no, you don't have mercury poisoning, it's okay. So right, but I still had that thing with the mercury. And then a little while later, I had another accident where a metal pole fell on my finger, and my finger popped open. So yeah, so it was like all these physical things, and the doctor said okay, and then I started developing like a very low immune system. Somebody would just sneeze and I would get sick. I would go into a public restroom and I would get sick. It was like ridiculous. My immune system was just so weak. And then I had the hand, and I said, okay, and he said, how's your energy? I said, no, I don't have any energy. I'm just so tired all the time. All I want to do is sleep. And he gave me a list, and we did some tests and everything. I said, no, you've got hypothyroidism. I said, that's interesting because I had a hyperthyroidism. Now I've got a hypothyroid. And he said, okay, and after the test, he said, you've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I said, what does that mean? He said, everything you've explained. And he thinks that the mercury and the tick bite, and he did a Epstein-Barr test, and I was positive. And he said because of the mercury and because of what happened with the tick bite fever, the Epstein-Barr was activated in my system, because most people on earth does have that virus. You know, it's very common, but it's not so common that everyone develop chronic fatigue syndrome from it. So he gave me started with his homeopathy medicine, and he said, but for your hand, I'm going to send you to an energy healer. I've never ever even heard about energy healing. So for me, it was like interesting. What is gonna, I don't know what this is. And I went to this lady. Oh my goodness. One session, I was able to open my hand. So the cramping released, but the shaking, I couldn't use my hands for another, my right hand for another 6 months. But the relief from that cramping was just, oh my goodness. So I wasn't so bothered to have the shaking hand for six months. I've learned to do everything with my left hand. So that was fine. Okay, so I had the chronic fatigue, and I said, okay, but you've got this mercury problem. So I had to go take out all the amalgam in my teeth. And I went to a very specific dentist he's trained in it, but still he gave me the adrenaline injections for the anesthesia, for the local anesthesia, and I reacted so badly. And I thought, but how would you give adrenaline to somebody that has adrenal fatigue? You know, it just floored me completely. And then I also had mercury dumping. So I got the pain in my body just got so bad. And then I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And during that whole year, I developed chronic pelvic pain. So it was, it was just so much for my nervous system. And the year after that, I developed these boils in my groin and on my bum, and they were just so painful, and they would just cause these open sores. So I was in pain all the time. I was tired, and the healer that helped me with my hand, she was a teacher, and I asked her, why is all these beds in her room? And she said, no, she gives courses. And I said, when you start a new course, can I join? And I started my energy healing journey, and she was my teacher for 7 years. So while I had this pain, while I was so tired, I also did the energy healing courses, but that was only once a month, so I could manage. And it was wonderful because it opened me up to my spiritual journey, and it reconnected me to how I always was as a child. It reconnected me to the energies. It reconnected me with nature. And then during with the healing courses, I met a young woman, and we became amazing friends. And she introduced me to shamanism. I didn't know what it was, and she introduced me to that. So I was living my life the best I could with the pain, with the tiredness, but I wanted to cure. So I just went from doctor to doctor, wishing for a cure, healer to healer. I went to see shamans. I did plant medicine. I just really wanted to live a thriving life, because I was alive, but I didn't feel like I was thriving. And then when 2020, I started facilitating online meditations and visualizations for people that was struggling with the time of COVID. And that opened up me to other layers of growth and understanding. And also I went through therapy, because there's this link. If you have this chronic pain and the tiredness, the medical doctor said to me, well, they can't find anything wrong with me per se, so I had to go see a psychologist. And I'm glad I did, because that psychologist helped me to reconnect with my body. I was really very dissociated. And I did 4 years of therapy with this therapist to help me to reconnect to myself and to start feeling my emotions again, and to to be aware. The awareness was very important. Then in 2021 I got COVID, and I've been actually struggling since then because there was a time where the homeopathy medicine was helping, but then that doctor died. He passed away, and then I went to see other doctor, and that doctor didn't help me and just gave me, I always had this very long list of symptoms, but no real diagnosis to go with it. Just this very long list of things that's wrong, but no diagnosis. And being in pain, a lot of pain again, very exhausted, just so exhausted, unable to do the least physical work. I became actually afraid of physical work. I started studying because I thought, there must be something out there that can help me. And that's when I learned about the nervous system and the vagus nerve, and how important. And when I looked back at my story, I realized I had a very, very sensitive nervous system since I was a child. And nobody told me that. If I could have learned to regulate myself since childhood, then it would have helped. So then I first just read books, and then from the books there was this explosion of online courses, and then I joined all these online courses, and then eventually I got to the mind body coaching, and now I'm at a place where I'm not looking for a cure anymore. There might be a cure, but I haven't found it. But how can I live my life the best I can by accepting, yes, I have pain every day. I am some days so exhausted that I just sit in my chair, but how can I manage my nervous system throughout the day to build capacity that maybe tomorrow I can have a little bit of more energy? Because I've seen, if I don't do that, then actually it can take like a week to recover, to just even have a little bit of more energy.
Wow, Hatumbra, thank you for sharing that whole story. Before I ask you a question, just a reflection. Isn't it astounding? Two things here. How our bodies bring us home actually to the truth of who we really are, although it can be quite a long and not easy journey, but the body over and over again, showing you, or taking you on a journey which you didn't know at the time, which eventually led to you doing this healing from the inside out, to full acceptance, to going full circle to being back who you really were as a child, to be this extraordinary, energetic, spiritual being. So, and the other thing I want to just pull out a thread from your story, because it's so magnificent, so thank you for sharing all of this, is that it's the it's this kind of contradiction and this paradox that if we can live in that and be with all of it, the dark and the light, the not so good, the great moments, it's all magnificent actually. And I think you and I have talked about this, how we've been conditioned and possibly socialized to look always for the only the good and the cure and the light and the, but look at where you are now. So I want you to take us a little bit further as to how you regulate your nervous system and what work you're doing in the world. But it's your, if I look at your whole story here, it's your full acceptance. Firstly, awareness, being guided to the right people, never giving up. You know, you stop looking for a cure, and ironically, that's maybe the very place where the cure will come. But you never gave up on taking ownership of your healing. Sorry, I'm pulling out so many threads here, but I'm so excited by your story. Because often we don't get a diagnosis, and that's exceptionally frustrating. And that's one of the reasons we do this podcast, is because so many people end up with Loreto or with people like you or Simon, the people we've got on here, because they're sick and they're not well, and nobody can get to the bottom of it. So yeah, the awareness you cultivated, taking ownership of your own healing journey, and eventually the acceptance and surrender and learning how to manage it. So it's magnificent. And being with all of it, actually, because I know you're the best version of yourself since I've met you. I think I met you in 2020, and that was sheer providence, synchrodestiny. I mean, how two people meet the way we did. And so we've had quite a good few years of journeying together. So let me not carry on talking too much. Let me ask you, can you share with us, because I think this is a big missing link, and we haven't talked about it that much on our podcast. We have, but I'd love you to share with us what you learned about the nervous system, your sensitivity, but most of all, how do you help yourself on a day-to-day practical basis? Give us some examples. Take us through some of your tools you use and how you can help other people with this, because I think it's a very, very important part of our physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual journey, actually. So back to you.
Well, the biggest thing for me is, I know it's not directly linked to the nervous system, but the biggest thing for me is diet. I have to be very aware of what I eat. And I've learned from reading a lot about diets and trying a lot of different things, because there is a million and one different diets out there, that being in tune with your body, you learn over the years, okay, if I eat this, the pain would just completely shoot up. So you stop that. And you can try it later on again, because your system is not always in the same place, because sometimes your system is hypersensitive and sometimes you can handle things and other times you can't. So it's not like, okay, I can't eat this, I can never eat it again. Well, there was a stage in my life where I ate 5 things. My body rejected everything else, and I got extremely thin, and I didn't like being so thin and bony, because sitting was excruciating, and hugging people was painful, and it was tough being so thin. But over the time, I got a lot more variety in my diet today, and so yeah, and it's like, we sugar is a big thing, but I do get my it's not like I don't eat any sugar, but I get my sugar from sweet potatoes, carrots, pumpkin. I mean, there's a difference between having some pumpkin and having a donut. Very big difference. So yes, I'm aware of what I eat and how it makes me feel, and then I adjust according, so I don't eat the same things every day. I try to go for variety. Then the next thing is, I have to take lots of pauses during the day and tune in. okay, where am I at this moment? Am I very anxious? Am I calm? Okay, no, I'm spinning out a bit. So then what do I need? I need to step outside a bit for 10 minutes, just walking around the garden. And I can't take a lot of sun. The sun is very stimulating, but I have to have sun. Sun is very important because 10 minutes of sun recharge the mitochondria. So people always think sun is only vitamin D3 that it helps the body with, but the sunlight also helps the mitochondria. And sunlight is also important for your sleep cycle, to daylight. So I just tune in. Okay, what do I need? All right, now I feel a bit dehydrated. I need water. I need a lot more water than most people. If you have adrenal fatigue or a chronic fatigue syndrome, then people they call them the water babies. They always have water with them. So okay, I need some water. Have some water. Sometimes I feel all right. Now I feel a bit shaky. My blood sugar is not wow. I need to eat something. So it's like being really in tune with your body and your needs. And breathing. You take out time breathing, where you do breathing exercises. Movement is very important. Sometimes you're so in pain and you're so tired that thinking of exercise, just you can't. It's just overwhelming. But then you say, okay, I can just walk to the kitchen and back. If it's really bad, then you can walk to the kitchen and back. But because movement is very important. But if you have more energy, okay, then you can walk like 10 minutes outside. Or some people, they can go. I've seen, for me, I can't do like a half an hour of exercise. It just completely exhausts me. I have to take more little times of exercise or movement. I don't call it exercise, movement. So what I can do to move. So movement is very important to the nervous system. What I found is amazing is rebounding. That's where you use the little trampoline to jump. I can't jump very high, and because my joints get very sore. But just standing there, bouncing a little bit, lifting your arms, it helps to clear the lymph. So rebounding is excellent. So yeah, movement, breathing, diet, drinking water, sunlight, being out in nature, and then socializing is important. Spending time with people is important, because when you're in so much pain and you feel so much tiredness, you tend to isolate yourself because you don't want to be a burden to other people. Okay, I don't socialize a lot because I'm very sensitive. I feel everyone's things and so, but I do get out and I appreciate a phone call, and I enjoy receiving WhatsApps. So communicating, feeling part. When I think of childhood, the most devastating thing for me was not being on psychiatric medicine from a young age and being on a lot of pain medication for having a chronic inflammation in my spine. It was the loneliness and feeling so isolated and feeling rejected by my peers, by being labeled as a weirdo, a misfit. Those things hurts the most. But now I can say, wow, 180 degrees, I feel so connected, I feel so loved, I feel I have a place of belonging, I feel accepted. I'm still strange, I still don't fit into a box. But I found my people. I found a place where I feel comfortable. So yeah, so that's what I do.
I think that's why we found each other. We were finding each other. I just want to pull out a few threads. Thank you for all of that. Yeah, stopping, pausing. What do I need right now? What connection to the body, connection to other people, to life, breathing. Yeah, that's something I want to. I'm just going to throw in here. You are one of the people who's going to be one of the coaches and affiliates on the community-based platform I've mentioned. We're hoping to launch in October. And I'm hoping you're going to take us through some breathing and chanting. You were chanting before we started, making a beautiful sound. You have a beautiful voice. But being in tune with our bodies, I think a lot of us, if I look back on my life, I ate healthy, I exercised, I did all of that, I meditated, but I was very disconnected from my body. And true connection means knowing what you need right now, not a blanket truth about this is what I should eat or shouldn't eat. And also all this resistance. Like I've been in a phase recently when I can only eat about 6 foods, and it was so frustrating. And actually, I was even hissy fitting my little inner child until I went like, wow, well, what's so bad about it? It's like, so it's that a moment to moment awareness and not buying into some blanket truth, or maybe the truth for you yesterday is not the truth today. And to it's such a beautiful holistic journey. How do you feel? But you have to pause to do that. And that's the other thing. We can't be too busy being busy if we are going to stop, pause, tune in, and do what's right for us in that moment. And I think that's possibly another reason why the body sometimes brings us to a standstill, because it stops us in our tracks. So thank you for all of that. Is there anything you would like to? I think you've given us so much of your beautiful story and your wisdoms. Is there a process you'd like to leave us with, or take us through a small practice, or tell us, please, definitely before you go, how people can reach you, what exactly you offer, and because I know how powerful you are, and you can work on multiple levels. That's why I wanted you to tell your story, because it's easy to go on and say, oh, this person can help you energetically, they can help you somatically, they can help you emotionally. But it sounds like a cure all. It's like a blanket. She's a flipping coaching genius. But yeah, it is, because it is holistic. Everybody that we have on this platform and on the new platform can holistically bring people to health. So I'm going to let you intuitively, maybe you could do something beautiful for us with your voice, or take us through a practice, or share a tour with us if that feels right for you, Hatumbra. So people can be at the other end of your beautiful energy and voice.
Okay, I first want to say I don't necessarily work with physical illness. That is not what I focus on. I focus more on the emotional, how emotions affect the body, and then also how people that are highly stressed, people with burnout, they to regulate, to focus on regulating the nervous system. And I want to just also say that working with the nervous system has taught me that it hasn't cured me, but it has been a tremendous help in my functioning. It is actually, it's like over time, I've built capacity to do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So it's not a cure all, or if you have a very highly stressed work, you can learn these tools and incorporate it, because it can take 10 minutes, it can take 10 seconds, it can, you don't have to take out hours from your day to do these. It's really developed to have these small pockets that you can do during the day, and then that helps you to build your nervous system to be more resilient, to be stronger, and you're able to do more. So that's what I focus with, because most people that have struggles with their nervous system, they don't even know it, and it comes out through relationships, by being emotionally reactive, having other symptoms, and yeah. And I can end us with a very short, easy practice that I use very often, because it's very quick and it's been very, very helpful. And it's a grounding exercise where you come into the present moment. Because when you're in fight and flight, you lose connection with your environment, and then you go into your subconscious programming, and then you just run an automatic, and you're not in the present moment. You do things and you don't even know what you're doing. So this was just help us to just come into the present moment. So if you're sitting, just feel your feet on the ground and notice, can I feel my feet on the ground? Am I aware? Can I feel my feet? And as you sit, can you feel, okay, is the support of the chair at the bottom, and at my back, my legs. And just notice, can you feel it? Oh no, I can't feel it. That's fine. It's not, judging, I can't feel my feet, that there must be something wrong with me. I can't feel my sitting bones on the chair, or when I'm standing, I can't feel my feet. It's not about judging it. It's about building awareness. Okay, can I feel it? Yes or no? Right. And then just look around. What do you see? What do I see? As you open, maybe something far away first, the furthest away from you, maybe something close. And then when something where you notice, then just notice, what is the color of it? What is the shape of it? And then maybe and even a deeper layer is, what does it make you feel like? Well, it doesn't make me feel anything. Well, that's a notice. Well, it gives me comfort. That's a notice. It gives me comfort. It's learning, being aware of how it makes you feel. And then the fact of you looking around, scanning your environment in a, not like, it starts calming the nervous system. And then when you start listening to sounds, what sounds can I hear? Okay. And the more you listen, the more you hear. Maybe you hear something far away. Maybe, okay, I hear the laptop's fan running. Just listen. And then now, okay, what do you smell? And while you smell, you can even take a nice long breath in through the nose, and then slowly out through the mouth, like with pucked lips, like. And the longer the out breath, the better. That brings you also in the present moment. And then taste. What do you taste? Sometimes you don't taste anything, and sometimes you taste the food you had, or the chewing gum you had, or the coffee. It's like, just okay. But it's more about focusing on that sense of taste than actually tasting anything. Okay. And then that brings us, that's a very short, and you can literally do it very, very short. And then that brings you into the present moment. And if you feel, okay, now I'm still a bit, then maybe start with the breathing and then do the round again.
Yeah, thanks, Hatumbra. I think we can think we're in the present moment, but yeah, so cultivating this moment by moment compassionate self-awareness. But well, I know from my journey that when I'm like freaking out, and if you start just being in tune with every moment, even if you're freaking out, know you're freaking out, and how does it make your body feel? And then it's a cultivation. I don't know why I'm using that word, but it's a practice we develop over time to take that pause and go, well, I'm eating my food now, but my mind's freaking out and I'm not even tasting it. Or I'm washing the dishes, but I'm not washing the dishes. I'm like trying to hurry up because I need to do something else. So thank you for that. And I want to just pull out a few threads from the last few things you said before you gave us the practice. Is please let's have patience with ourselves. We've been led to believe that there's a quick fix, that there's a microwave solution. And as Marcia Tanma beautifully said in her episode, healing is learned, just like everything else. And that also requires unlearning, as Hatumbra's highlighted. So celebrate the small victories and the small things. It's sometimes it's those moments in time that I miss, Hatumbra, because I'm so busy racing towards some end result that I haven't felt the sun on my skin or really seen that flower. Um, and we're a work in progress, and this is a lifetime journey. I think that's something else we really bring on this podcast is it's not a moment in time and then it's done. Healing is going to be ongoing, and every single one of us relapse at times. We're worse at some times than we are at others. So yes, thank you. You've pulled so many threads together here. Please, can you end us off by telling us where people can reach you, how they can reach you, and I will also put all your details in the show notes. And thank you, Hatumbra, for today. It's not so easy always for us to share our stories, but I know it's really helpful for others.
Yes, thank you, Antoinette, for encouraging me to do this, because I was very reluctant to share my health story, because I don't want people to feel sorry for me or don't want to come and see me because they feel no, they're going to exhaust me. No, I take responsibility for my own energy, and I take responsibility for myself so that I can show up when I'm called to be there. People can reach me on hatumbra.unity@gmail.com. I will answer them if they send me an email, and I'm sure Antoinette will put my email address down there. I'm not very active on social media yet because I choose how to spend my energy. But I'm very excited to join this collaboration with Antoinette, because I really enjoy facilitating and bringing myself to the table for people to experience the the space that's created. That I love doing that, and so thank you for inviting me to join your team.
You're so welcome. You are so powerful and so and those of us that are still on our own journeys, but maybe a few steps ahead of other people, I think there's great value in facilitation and coaches like that, because we've walked the path and we still are. So bless you and thank you. I am so grateful. I've been very patient. Hey, it's taken a few years, but I'm so grateful to have you here and to have you back in collaboration with me. So. Hatumbra, do you want to end with anything, or are we done?
I just want to say thank you for our friendship. We're very different, and I've learned a lot from you, and just thank you for being my friend.
Oh, and thank you. We're publicly thanking each other because connection's not always easy for people like us in inverted commas, because we are, I mean, we can feel we're strange and we're exceptionally different. And we've actually been through the hard yards as well in our friendship. And that's the other thing, thank you, that you and a couple of close people in my life have brought to me. Sometimes it has to be hard. There's nothing wrong with hard. Life can be hard. We need to have hard conversations and relationships, but we don't have to divorce each other. We can grow from it. So thank you. You've been an absolute blessing for me, and being different has been amazing. So anyway, thank you, Hatumbra, and look out for more, everybody. And thank you for listening. And please share this, okay? A lot of people out there are struggling with the same kind of issues, maybe physically, mentally, spiritually, because it all goes together, that Hatumbra's talked about today. And what Hatumbra brings, as do I and all of us who talk on this, is there is hope, man. There is hope, and you can move forward no matter where you are. So goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening and thanks for sharing. Bye, Hatumbra.